one of the most explosive players in the draft.
Elite aggressiveness. I love him.
With the 14th pick, the New England Patriots select.
What's up, everybody? It's Deuce and Lazar, and we are back for mock draft number 3. The draft is getting close. We're just a few weeks away. We've done 2 before. Now we've got a little bit more information after free agency, Evan, and this is going to be our final mock before the big day.
3 weeks to go to the NFL draft. It's getting closer and closer, and I think we really feel like some of the same needs. I feel like at the top of the draft for everybody, receiver, tackle, corner. We'll see what direction the Patriots go.
All right, well, let's take a look at your boy Deuce's first. This is my 3rd attempt, and you know, there are quite a few that we've had in common, and obviously we have, you know, we've come up studying the Patriots, so I think we have similar guys. Just to quickly touch on, you know, hey, a couple special teamers here. Punter, kicker. All right, I did a lot of trading up in mine, and I was guys I want.
I like it.
And I feel, you know, look, I didn't hit everything, and I'm a little bit bummed out that I had to wait until here with Riley Moss. Maybe a little low. I know Evan's got him as well, so we'll get into that in a second. But Evan, look, tight end. Tucker Kraft, I really like him. There's a lot of tight ends I like. Schoonmaker's the guy that we talked about that I had last time. I think you feel the same. They can't get through this draft without trying to take one of these guys. You've got 2 guys on single-year deals. They're going to be free agents next year. Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki. It makes sense to take a developmental guy. I love Tucker Kraft, even though his team did knock my Holy Cross Crusaders out of the SCS playoffs. We won't talk about that, though. Josh Downs, a receiver that we love. And I know, Evan, you've got another receiver as well that maybe we both love even a little bit more. But he's a guy that I see is what they need. They need that interior presence, somebody who can make plays in the middle of the field, get open quick. He's tough. He's played a lot of football. Love Josh Downs. And finally, we'll get into the first picks on the last slide, but I'm going to just mention Broderick Jones, my favorite tackle of this group. Tough. He's just inexperienced. That's the only thing. And I know that they like experienced tackles. You've got some time. He's a young guy. He's athletic. He's tough. He's mean. I like all those things about him. So overall, I feel like we're addressing the offense. The only thing I'm a little bit bummed about, wait until this late to get a cornerback.
We both went about it similar ways in terms of needs, though, and corner ended up hitting down the board a little bit, I think. So I went into this mock draft out of the premise that, first, it's my dream come true, but second, let's finally put an end to the weapons crisis here in New England. Let's go out there and let's load up on pass catchers and get an arsenal of playmakers for Mac Jones. So we start with that with Zay Flowers in the first round, but we'll get to that in a second. The trade up here that I did, I traded down and then I traded back up in the second round. I pulled a Christian Barmore here in the second round. Darnell Washington from Georgia, we know the size, the athleticism is one of one. It's very, very rare. I think he's probably the closest thing to Gronk since Gronk came in the draft that can move like that, at that size, with the blocking ability. And I just know Bill Belichick is somebody that just loves his tight ends. And I feel like Darnell Washington just maybe somebody he's not going to be able to pass up on. So I waited until the 3rd round here with Blake Freeland at tackle, who is essentially just a Nate Solder clone. He's built exactly the same as Nate Solder, and he has a similar feet and run blocking ability as Nate Solder. So I look at him as somebody that can play at left tackle. We both had Riley Moss, but then I doubled up here at tackle with Wanya Morris. And now out of those 2 players, Morris more of a right tackle prototype for the Patriots, more of that, you know, run blocking first with size and power. I think that out of those 2 guys, though, you're hoping you're going to find at least one starter and maybe then one swing tackle as well. And lastly, but not least, Corey Trice Jr. from Purdue. This is my who's the DB the Patriots are going to take a lot higher than we all project and a lot higher than we all think. I took him where he's projected to go right now. I wish I had taken him a little bit earlier because I think that's where they're going to take him if they do take him. From Purdue, 6'3", 200 pounds, ran a 4.46 in the 40-yard dash, press man specialist. So you got your size, your speed, your athleticism on the outside, and your man coverage ability. And last but not least, DTR.
He's in every mock draft we do.
We got to get DTR in there at some point. If they're going to take a flyer on a quarterback in the middle rounds, we both don't really think it's going to happen in the top 50. But if they come down in the first, in the day 3, like they did with Bailey Zappi last year, and take a quarterback, I really think that this is their guy after working with him at the Shrine Bowl. So a couple of different angles to this, but I think the most important thing is there at the top. Let's get some weapons. Let's finally put an end to this ridiculousness. Let's go out there and get some pass catchers.
Yeah, well, let's take a little closer look now at our first round selections. And I mean, I'm going to just start talking about your guy, Evan, because you picked him, but what's not to love? It's Zay Flowers. He's explosive. I mean, later I took Josh Downs. Zay Flowers is better than Josh Downs. If you're going to take a first-round guy, this is it. I think really the only question, Evan, is 14th overall. Are they ready to jump? And I think all of us are ready to jump on him at that point. But he does have some size concerns, and that's, will it translate? Is he going to be able to be exactly what they need? It sure looks like it on paper.
Yeah, so I actually traded down to 20 and took him there, which I think a lot of us would feel more comfortable with, off the premise that most likely maybe one of those quarterbacks falls, like a Will Levis, ends up falling outside of the top 10 and somebody trades up to get him. But I also look at a guy like Bijan Robinson, who's just absolutely generational talent, but is a running back, so maybe not the positional value. But I think some of those teams that are picking in the 20s that were playoff teams a year ago might feel like Bijan is the missing piece on their offense. The Patriots need a few other pieces before they go running back. What I love so much about Zay Flowers is really that 3-level playmaking ability. First level, you can have those quick hitters, catch and run the football, jitterbug after the catch, really, really good with the ball in his hands. But then you have those vertical double moves, right? He loves that corner post route. He loves a little stutter and go, and you can hit him over the top too. I'm not as concerned about the size because we've seen a lot of receivers nowadays in this similar mold really translate. Guys like Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith obviously is very, very thin. Tyreek Hill even is not the biggest guy in the world. So I don't really think that that's as much of a concern nowadays as maybe it used to be when you had to have size at that position. But you can't go wrong with a franchise left tackle either.
Yeah, a little bit about Broderick Jones. And I mean, I mentioned before, and look, the Patriots have made some additions in free agency at this position. And I mean, they've padded their depth a little bit. That's why when I look at your mock, I'm like, hey, they got some developmental guys. They might not need to stick somebody in there right away, and that might be the case with Broderick Jones, who only played a season and a half at left tackle, but certainly coming from Georgia. I mean, the guy can play football. Just love watching him. What do you think of Broderick Jones?
So I think the biggest thing with Broderick Jones is that he's a little bit misunderstood to me as a prospect. He's more of a project than people think. This is a guy that, especially in pass protection, his feet, his footwork, and his hands, they're a little sloppy right now, and he's going to need some work in that area. But the Patriots don't have, and this is the positive, the Patriots don't have the opportunities very often to draft a ball of clay like Broderick Jones, a guy that has elite physical tools and can really turn into a franchise all-pro, perennial Pro Bowler at left tackle. He blocks in space and on the move like a tight end. Like, this doesn't look like a 311-pound tackle when you put him out in front of a screen or you pull him or move him across the formation. This is somebody that can really run. And I think that there's a lot of potential with Broderick Jones, maybe some refinement needed in pass protection. But once he hits that ceiling is going to be a top 5, top 10 tackle in the league.
All right, well, there's a lot to be excited about in this draft. Hey, they go with Evan's draft, they go with mine. There's going to be some really quality players that can help the Patriots. Now, this might be it for mock drafts, but there's still plenty more draft content coming from us, the big boards. Me and Evan, we've been doing big boards for years and years. 50 guys, our favorite fits. I think a good majority of the guys that we talked about today will be on that list, but can't wait for that draft. It's going to be a great chance for the Patriots to get back to where they need to.